Hello folks, this is Sullla here. You're listening to another video for League of Legends. And I bet a bunch of you thought you'd never hear that again. Anyway, welcome back everybody. This is my first League of Legends video in almost 5 years. It's been over 4 years, but less than 5 years, so it's been a long time by YouTube standards. So you might be wondering, why would I want to go back and do a League of Legends video after all of this time? And the simple answer is I just kind of wanted to play League of Legends again. It had been such a long time since I last played this game, and I just wanted to play this game. I've been following the competitive scene, even though I haven't actually played League, so I've been aware of champions being introduced. I've been aware of changes they've made to the gameplay, like, I don't know, introducing the elemental drakes instead of the dragons that just provide flat gold, and other changes to the jungle and changes to the masteries, taking out the runes, that sort of thing, which by the way was a great decision. Runes were terrible and I hated them. But I hadn't played this game in years, so even things that might be kind of like old and tired to other people who have been kind of following the League scene for a long time, they still are new to me because I haven't played this game at all since I think 2013 was the last time I played an actual game of League, as opposed to just watching other people play a game of League. And I found myself in a position where I didn't have any games to play. There wasn't anything compelling out there that I was interested in. I was like, you know what? I haven't played League in like 5 years, so let's go back and give League a try. And I'd like to get back into this game because I kind of missed it. Like, it was I kind of felt nostalgic when I went back and looked at some of my old videos. I kind of missed it, kind of missed the scene and all the stuff that we used to do with, YouTube games and stuff like that. So let me see if I can unlock the camera here. I'm going to have to get used to the spectator mode controls, although the spectator mode. The fact, by the way, that there are replays, my single biggest complaint about League was the lack of replays, and finally there are replays. I think they've been around for a while, but it's new to me. Having actual in-client replays that you can use is just fantastic for someone who is putting anything on YouTube. Anyway, so that's a little bit of background to this. This was the first day that I played any games of League since I started this again. I did 3 games. I ended up playing support the first 2 games, even though I asked to mid, but I ended up getting support because I had support as my second preference, which means you get that a lot. Played a Sona game that we did end up winning, although I played horribly in that game. Like, immediately gave up first blood. I was like, oh my god, this feels like I haven't played the game in 5 years. Played a Sona game, which we won despite me. I got carried by my teammates. Played a Janna game where I did better, but we ended up losing that one. And then this was the third game I played, the first one where I was able to get a solo lane. And the first game, I, of course, am in a solo lane. I wanted to go back to playing my favorite champion, Karthus. So Karthus, fortunately, has not really changed in that time. He got a graphical rework, and I miss the old graphics. I like the red graphics. I like the skeleton look because, you know, Karthus is basically a lich. He's an undead lich. That's what he is. But they had to change that because there's a kind of a cultural thing in China where they don't really like skeletons. China's a huge audience for Riot Games. That like half the player base is in China. So understandably, when they reworked Karthus, well, not really reworked him, just updated his artwork. They took the skeleton stuff out, which is understandable, but I kind of miss it. But in terms of how Karthus plays, he hasn't really changed. I mean, his kit is still exactly the same. The particles are just green instead of red now. So I could go right back into playing Karthus, and I did play him in a bot game, to be fair, before this, but this is my first time playing against actual human opposition. So let's talk a little bit about this game. Well, we have some action here. I am going to get ganked by the Nocturne and Echo, and I succeed in my first mechanics test, as I do successfully flash the wall. Echo flashed on top of me, and I had to respond by flashing the wall, so I did successfully pull that off. I was not sure I'd be able to do that because my mechanics were super duper rusty after this time spent off the game, but I managed to pull that off and not immediately die there, which would not have been first blood because our team already scored first blood with the jungler picking that up with our jungle Kayn. But yeah, so did manage to pull that off, but I am down flash now, which means I have to play very defensively in middle lane, as Echo already can kind of jump on top of me and burst me down, him being kind of an assassin-y type champion. I don't know if that's quite the right term, but certainly has a lot more burst damage than Karthus. And with no flash, I am inherently pretty vulnerable to him, because he can just... long-standing Karthus point, there's a gank in top lane. I'm sorry, I hope you won't begrudge me missing some of the action. Karthus' whole deal is he protects himself by his wall of pain, and any champion that can dash or get over the wall inherently makes him vulnerable, and Echo, of course, can certainly do that. This is the first time I ever played against an Echo, so I had seen Echo in competitive play before, but had not actually played against an Echo, so I was not very familiar with you know, kind of how you play against him. So I basically opted to try to stay safe. I'm going to turn that chat off because it's kind of annoying. There we go. So yeah, I was just trying to play safe defensively, try to survive the lane, and then be useful to the team later on, and all that kind of stuff. So let's back up. Let's look at what's going on in the game overall. So we have a top lane Gragas against a top lane Riven. Gragas apparently able to be played like in pretty much any role. He was at Worlds 2018, he was played support a lot, he was jungled some of the time, so it looks like he could pretty much just fill any role right now. I am in mid against Echo. We have a jungle Kayn up against their team as a jungle Nocturne, who's like living in our jungle right now, which is kind of surprising because Kayn's 2-0, probably not the smartest decision, and let's see if this is actually going to turn into trouble here. So Nocturne, yeah, invading against the jungler who's ahead, maybe not the best decision. And he's not going to get the big raptor, fortunately. And then down in bottom lane, our lane is a Kai'Sa Sona lane. Kai'Sa was played non-stop at Worlds 2018. I do not know if she's been nerfed since that patch. Honestly, I have not been following the patch notes. Have to get back in the habit of that. And they're up against a really weird Ryze Braum lane. So their team does not have a traditional AD, but they do have a decent amount of physical damage in the form of the Nocturne and the Riven. So I'm just trying to farm up. I'm down in CS, that's not surprising. We do have both Kayn and Gragas trying to set up for a gank here. I have a Vision Ward that's blocking their Sight Ward over there, or Control Ward they're called. So Gragas is going to barrel, but unfortunately the barrel knocks Echo in the wrong direction, so that's not going to turn into anything. I was trying to bait Echo in by like looking like I was weak, and you know, like playing back, making it look like, oh, I'm so scared of you, come in and harass me, and hoping he would come forward, but didn't quite work out. His dash just interacted with the Gragas ultimate and shoved him back, so that didn't turn into anything. But overall, yeah, just trying to play safe, trying to play defensive. I am not confident in my mechanics after a like 5-year layoff from the game, so I figure I'll just farm and try to be strong enough so I can ult later on in the team fights, use my ultimate, that kind of thing. And Echo's going to jump on top of me here. I get the wall down, but honestly, I think he could have kept going on that. I think he could have just kept going and potentially killed me there. But this is, you know, not high elo or anything like that. So Echo's going to jump in again. Takes 2 tower shots. That second trade was probably not in his favor because of the 2 tower shots. Also, why am I... Oh, and I am ulting into bot lane, by the way. So, we get Braum low enough so Kai'Sa can flash. I was like, wait a minute, why am I not farming those minions? And I was like, oh yeah, because I was watching bottom lane, and I was getting ready to ult into that fight. So, picked up an assist there, and basically, even though I didn't get the kill, I created a kill for us. Kai'Sa would not have been able to flash onto Braum and take that kill otherwise, as the enemy team teleports to this tower to try and save it. So, here comes Ryze again. Catalyst here, people's obviously still building Ryze the same way as they used to back in the day, even though his ult is a lot different now than what it was in, like, 2013 when I was last playing this game. I kind of miss the old Ryze. He was all point and click, no skill shots. Riot didn't like that because, understandably, there's not a lot of counterplay to unavoidable abilities. So understand that, but I kind of like Ryze specifically because he had no skill shots. It was all just like positioning based. Probably overpowered though, to be fair. We did pick up the Ocean Drake, so we've got the first dragon of the game, and we are ahead by about 1,000 global gold. And most of that advantage right now is in our jungler. If you look at the Kayn, he's 301, and he is like 1,300 gold ahead. So yeah, he's ahead. Top lane Riven's ahead. Mid lane, I am slightly behind, and then our bot lane's even right now, as I go back to the items. So overall, I'm just going with a standard build for Karthus, or at least how I believe people are still building him. I'm going Rod of Ages first, and then we'll see what to pick up from there after that. Over here, I'm going to pick up my blue buff, so that's all that's going on right there. Little note to people who haven't played a lot of Karthus: if you put down the wall of pain, then it does serve as a magic resistance shred. It's not significant at level 1, but if you're going to pick up blue buff and have basically infinite mana, you might as well drop it down, because it does let you kill the buff a little bit faster. The only time you wouldn't do that is if you're worried that someone's going to try and interfere with your blue, so you have the wall up for defensive purposes. Anyway, Nocturne ulting in the top lane. Riven gets the knockup, and this guy's pretty dead because he gets feared and runs in the wrong direction. So see you later, Gragas. And now Riven is free to push this tower. And this lane is a real problem for my team. We are winning jungle. We're pretty much even mid. You see Echo goes in on me, and I exhaust him. By the way, you really should take exhaust with Karthus. It is needed, or I'm pretty sure people still do this, as I missed the cannon creep. Rest in peace mechanics there. You really should take exhaust on Karthus, just because it's really necessary to protect yourself, and it also makes it easier to hit people with your lay wastes after you slow them with exhaust. Up in top lane, we had a kill picked up again by our jungler, who is really carrying us at the moment. He picked up a kill on their Nocturne. As I foolishly cut the camera back to mid lane to try to focus on what I'm doing. Anyway, over here though, Riven's still hanging around in our jungle. I guess there's not really anywhere else for her to go, so Kayn catches up to her, and we've got a duel between these two. And it looks like Riven's winning that matchup, so she chases, flash away. I put down the wall, Riven flashes over the wall, but now right here, she's chasing behind the towers, and together we actually are able to pick off that kill. So just barely managed to save Kayn there. I did get a good wall. Riven flashed the wall, but then I was able to get off some decent lay waste, ran the Defile Aura, so she would take magic damage, and then Kayn was able to turn and get in like one more. What's the name of his? See, I don't know the name of Kayn's abilities because he's still relatively new. One more of his slashes. I think it was his W actually. This one, the Blade's Reach. He was able to get off one more of those attacks and just pick off the kill right before he died. So that was some nice team play. And it also gives me my first kill. So that's going to speed me along to my Rod of Ages and help me pick it up at a more reasonable time. I can't remember if I have quite enough to get it on this back. We'll see in a second when I go back and buy. No, I have enough for the Blasting Wand, but not enough for the actual Rod. But I should be able to get it by like 14 minutes, and that's pretty decent. Farming's a little low. Like you see, for me, the 79 CS minion kills, that's a little bit low. I would ideally be right around close to 100 here, like 90 to 100 right now, since I've been staying mid and I haven't really been roaming. My farming numbers should be a little bit higher. But again, mechanics are off. You saw me miss that cannon creep. I missed a couple of them. What's one thing that has changed since I last played the game? They really dialed up the value of the cannon creeps overall. They're now worth like, I don't know, 80 or 90 gold, so they're worth much more than the other minions. They've always been worth more, but it used to be like 40 as compared to 20, and now they're like 70 or 80 as compared to 20. So they're going to initiate right there. I'm ulting into this fight because I knew that we had a fight down in bottom lane. But unfortunately, Kayn is not able to get a kill. That turns into a shutdown, and so that was 2 for 0 in their team's favor. And this is going to open up the bottom tower to them too. So we were winning the game up to that point, but now their team's clear to push this, and it looks like they should be able to get this first tower because, look, there's nothing Kaisa can do. She's on like a third health, and there's 3 of them down there pushing, so not much they can do. So at this point, I'm getting ready to back, and then I see them down here with 3 in bottom lane. I'm like, okay, well, they've got 3 in bot, so that means no one can be mid. I can see Riven in top, and that means I'm clear to push this lane into the tower, and there's not much I can do to salvage this situation because I can't, like, I ulted into the fight, I couldn't get down there, so the best thing I can do is shove a wave of minions into the tower. It's obviously nowhere near as good as what the other team just pulled off, which is why they've opened up a lead of about 1,500 gold, roughly, but it's the best I can do in that situation. You know, I ulted into the fight, but it wasn't enough, sadly, because I think Sona just got blown up instantly at the start of that fight. But I did have enough gold to pick up Rod of Ages, so that's a plus. That'll start stacking up. And that's always been kind of the core of the Karthus build. And then I'm going to look to go actually for Morellonomicon next, which seems to be what people are building as the second item on Karthus these days. If I was really fed, I would look to go for Tear into Archangel Staff, but that's not happening in this game. The Tear into Archangels, or Seraphs, I guess is called after it transforms, that's kind of a luxury purchase for a Karthus. We do have a gank going on here on top. A nice barrel that time from Gragas. Like, kudos on that. He missed an earlier one when Echo dashed, but that went quite well, and he's going to pick up that kill. So the Riven player has a lot of gold, and like Riven is substantially out farming the Gragas on our top lane, like the 100 to 74. But Riven's also died 4 times, so like Riven has responsible for like half the team's deaths, And that's kind of how Riven players tend to play. I guess you kind of need to be aggressive if you're going to do your job as Riven, but you don't ever want to give too much gold away, as I miss another cannon creep there. So yeah, like I said, mechanics, rest in peace. I only got one of the 3 minions you just saw there. So yeah, we knew Nocturne was here because we saw his Dustbringer come in as we tried to clear that ward. But right now, I'm mostly, again, trying to hang out mid. There is an Infernal Drake in mid that or not in mid. There's an Infernal Drake down here we'd really like to get, but we need an opportunity to do that. Right now, someone should probably be putting pressure on bottom lane, but instead we're going to cut to top lane, where Gragas just gets blown up by Riven. And I'd love to ult and kill Riven right now, but my ult is on cooldown. So there's no way to get that. If I click on my portrait there, see, 35 seconds. Riven also probably could have used her shield to block it and not die, but wasn't even an option for me to get the kill because ult was still on cooldown. So now their team is looking to take this Infernal Drake right now. We were able to get a ward down for Vision. Riven is still on top. She could come down here. She could push top lane tower. Considering how low she is, she probably should be shoving top. Instead, it looks like she's trying to come down to river, which is probably a mistake given that she's on like 20% health. I guess she's picking up the honey fruit right now, based on what her health bar is showing. But I think she should have just stayed top and kept pushing the tower because we had everybody down by Dragon. And then, yeah, we're just clearing out Vision right now. Bottom lane has mostly been getting ignored. And watch this. Nocturne dives in and just blows up instantly. A nice Sona ult into Kayn using all his damage stuff into Kai'Sa. I don't know Kai'Sa's abilities, but she hit both of them and they just died instantly. So now with the jungler dead and with Riven back in base, I don't think we saw her recalling, but we didn't think she could get down here. We're now cleared to take this Infernal, which we really had no business taking, considering that the enemy team won bottom lane so decisively. Really should have had better luck there. But in any case, we're able to get that, and we somehow took the first 2 dragons, even though our bot lane kind of got dumpstered in this game. Like, if you look at the global gold, it doesn't look that bad, but they did lose their tower, and Kai'Sa's only on 85 CS at the 16, almost the 17-minute mark, so that's pretty awful. And she really should have been focusing a little bit more about farming, but what can you expect, right? This is a low elo game. This is someone with 0 games in their match history playing a normal draft pick mode. So, you know, you're not going to get great players, which is frankly what I need right now because I don't know what I'm doing, mechanics-wise. At this point in time, my game knowledge is so far out in front of my mechanics, it's pretty funny. So it's a case of where I kind of know what I should be doing, but I can't do it because I haven't played the game in a long time. I went Merc Trades in the game. I want to highlight that. I just looked at the enemy team's composition. Didn't feel like a Sorc Shoes game. They had a lot of crowd control on their team, and they also had a lot of magic damage with Rise and Echo. And I figured I just need the tenacity from the Merc Treads more. So a little bit less in the way of damage, but again, can get that magic penetration from the Morellonomicon. So not as much of a need for Sorc Shoes. Right now, Riven is setting up a trap in our jungle along with Nocturne, and they're going to go after our Kayn player right here. So they're going to duel, and Echo's over here as well. So Nocturne ults. At this point, we have no vision. Kayn tried to ult into one of them, but he gets stopped. And then I, of course, have no vision coming here. I was like, oh, this is bad. I walked right into 3 of them. Again, largely because of the Nocturnal. I didn't know what was happening. Gragas is going to barrel, and I'm going to immediately ult. Now, normally you wait until the end of your Death Defy to ult as Karthus, but I wanted to ult immediately because I knew that Nocturne had used his Spell Shield, and the longer I waited, the more likely his Spell Shield will be off cooldown. So I make a bad play. I walk into 3 members of their team right at the tail end of the Nocturnal. We didn't have vision. We had no wards in our blue side jungle, which I could have done a better job on. So I make a bad play, but I managed to get a kill back, fortunately. We were able to do enough damage that I was able to get a kill on Nocturne. And right now, Echo, again, really should push this tower. But he delays just long enough that our Kayn player, who's now revived, is heading over here and is looking to make a play. So Echo, again, really could have gotten that tower if he had pushed it initially, but backed off, and now Kayn's here. So Echo is going to snap his ult back, but he's taking even more tower shots. Takes 2 more tower shots. Kayn continues to attack, and you can see picks up the shutdown. Was ignited by Echo, but it wasn't enough. I was trying to get up there to help out in that fight, but couldn't get up there soon enough. And so it's Kayn who pulls off the solo kill there. Admittedly, Echo was already low from the last fight and tanked like 5 tower shots. And at this point, we're like, hey, you know what? We can take the mid tower. So I'm going to wall just to, in part, give us vision and in part to screen anybody off. And nobody ends up being here because their bottom lane, oh, we saw their bottom lane down here. So we're like, oh yeah, bottom lane's here. Echo's dead. we can definitely take mid tower. And that really evens up the game. If you look at the global gold, it's like 30k to 30k, so no advantage on either side. And we do have a Nocturne ult over here, so watch. Nocturne's going to ult, but that is not a good Nocturne ult. It goes right into 3 members of our team. And only taking that blast cone over the wall gets Nocturne out of there, with it, aside from just dying instantly, like he did the last time he ulted over here on the river. So we're still in pretty good shape. I'd say it's an even game, but if we have one thing on our kind of in our favor, it's that we still have that Infernal Drake from earlier, so that is going to give us bonus AD and AP, and I do think that our comp probably scales a little bit better into the late game, just because we have an actual traditional AD, and their team really doesn't. Like, their team has tons of engage between Braum and Riven and Nocturne. They're really good at diving in, and Echo, I should add, too. Really good at engage, but their actual sustain in a fight is not great. Their damage is kind of in a big burst up front, so if we're able to survive that, the kind of damage over time output that a Karthus or a Kaisa puts out should allow us to take fights. So I felt like if we were able to take this game late, we'd have a good advantage to come out on top. And if you've noticed, I've actually pulled ahead of Echo in farm right now. We do have a fight over here. Echo, yeah, gets caught out of position. I get off a decent wall on Braum, but then I miss all my Qs, so he doesn't take any damage afterwards. So yeah, we catch Echo out of position, but Riven's taking top tower. We do have our jungler and our top lane Gragas coming over, so they're going to look to try and make a play here. And let's see if Riven's going to be able to outplay this. So she flashes away and continues trying to run. Barrel doesn't do quite what we want, but it looks like it's probably enough. And still chasing, but yeah, it's not going to work at that point. So Gragas does manage to pick up that kill. So the enemy team definitely has been feeding us some very needless kills. I don't know what Echo was doing when he got caught out kind of near our river. And here comes Kayn, and watch, right here, we're going to get our next big fight going in. So a lot of people low, hard to tell what's going on in these chaotic team fights. I'm going to actually pick up a kill there. My wall misses, so it's not a great wall. But what I am able to do is to try to, oh, I get jumped on here by Echo. And he is going to, or Ryze actually is going to pick up the kill. First gets the kill on Sona, and now Echo's coming after me. So I'm going to try to hit him. I actually get him with the Q there. I'm going to exhaust him, which keeps me alive for a while. And I'm going to continue trying to drop Qs here. I get Rune Prisoned by Ryze. Echo continuing to DPS me. He's going to dash away, but I do still have ult because I'm Karthus. He's going to try to shield himself, but not quite enough. And that was pretty close. I had just enough damage to get the kill. So overall, decent fight for us. I think we went 2 for 2. Maybe it was 2 for 3 in their favor. Have to go back and look at that again. So considering how the fight started, I think it could have gone better for us. The biggest issue I'd say is Kaisa kind of split off from the rest of us. Maybe she was just running away for her life, but I think she was chasing Braum in that fight and didn't really end up doing anything. I'd have to go back and look at it. But at least we get bottom tower on the kind of tail end of that. So overall, roughly even for us. I was reasonably happy with how that fight went. Once Echo got on top of me, I actually did use Exhaust at a good moment and was able to hit at least some of the lay waste. It's always hard to hit lay waste against someone like Echo just because of the mobility. And over here, well, let's hold off that thought for a second. We have a dragon fight. I thought this was a mistake at the time. You can see it's turning into a mistake. Their team jumps on us. We do manage to get the dragon, so that's nice. But Kayn is going to die here to the Nocturne, and once that happens, Sona has no shot. So yeah, she's going to get pulled off. I was trying to come over, but once I saw them dying, I was like, no, I'm not going to run in and die for no reason. Gragas did pick up a kill on Riven, and where did that happen? Missed that one. It must have been at the tail end of that same fight. But not worth it. I mean, we got the Ocean Drake, but they went, what, 3 for 1, and they're going to get the mid tower off this because, you know, we only have 2 of us alive, and it's 2 on 5. They're also putting pressure on top, so they're going to get top tower too. So 3 for 1 in their favor, and going to be 2 towers here. Not worth it for an Ocean Drake. In fact, they could have, arguably, they could have gone and taken Baron here. And I think they could have done it if they were really, you know, disciplined and moved as a team. This being a solo queue game, that's not likely. Also, I'm running my Defile too long. Yeah, there. Finally realized that I was running it. So again, mechanics not so great in this game. So that was not worth it. And you can see the game snowballed. The other team has snowballed out to a 2,000 gold lead. We're still ahead in kills, but they're ahead in gold. Also, Kaisa, not a safe place for her to be. She's out in the middle of mid, but I guess she's able to get back. Okay. So yeah, I would think what did I just picked up blue buff, I believe. Yeah, just picked up blue, and we're gonna grab the Scuttle Crab for crab control, so that's nice. But that was not good. We fell further behind the enemy team, and put ourselves in a rough position. And now Kane, who's the strongest member of our team, goes after their Nocturne, but is going to get caught by the enemy team, and he's going to get blown up. He's going to lose his Guardian Angel there, which is really bad because that was a lot of his gold just went into that item. And granted, Guardian Angel is a lot different now than it used to be, now that it provides the AD bonus, but, you know, when that passive is down, it is a much weaker item. So at this point, I was like, alright, I'm just backing away from this. You guys should not fight. Kane is the strongest member of our team. If you look at the gold here, Kane has the most gold on our team. Yeah, the jungler, 10,000. I do have the second most for what that's worth, but Kane is the most fed member of our team, so we do not want to fight while Kane is dead. And I'm just looking to defend mid because I saw Riven was trying to push it. And all I want to do is clean this wave. I accidentally put down the wall though, and that is a mistake. I really meant to run Defile. Note that Riven is going to pop her ult here, and I was like, alright, she's going to go in on me. So attacks me, stuns me, I miss a lay waste, I get blown up by Nocturne, and then I'm planning to ult here, because I could kill Riven, she shielded too early, but for whatever reason, I forget to hit R, which was not on cooldown, and miss out on the opportunity to get a kill on Riven. And that was my worst play of the game right there. Had exhaust up, had flash up, had ult up. That barrel, unfortunately, is going to miss on Nocturne, but Kane's able to clean up the kill anyway. But yeah, that was my worst play, and now Kane's going after Riven still. My worst play of the game. Had ult up, had flash up, had exhaust up, didn't use any of them, and ended up dying underneath my own tower. So what really should have happened there is I should have exhausted Riven. I should have had wall up. Like I said, I accidentally used wall when I meant to use Defile just by hitting the wrong key. Sort of things you do, again, when you're not used to playing the game. And just ended up dying uselessly, when what should have happened is Riven should have, when she dove me into the tower, I should have exhausted her, walled her, and then just gotten the kill on her, no problem. Could have flashed away from her stun too, because I did have flash up. But anyway, nonetheless, my team was able to score some kills on the back end of that, so team carrying me here. And at this point, there were some pings for Baron, but this isn't really time to do Baron. The enemy team, while they did lose their mid laner and they did lose Ryze, it would be way too risky to try to do Baron there. Nonetheless, though, we closed the gold deficit. Now we're only 1,000 gold behind, so we're still back in that. Fortunately, the rest of my team kind of picked me up there after I made a horrible play mid. And at least we didn't lose our inner mid tower, so there's some bonus to that, at least. And now I'm just going to keep farming this. If you look at my CS, I am second in the game in minion kills to Riven, who's at 223. Again, this is lower than I'd want to be at 27 minutes. I should be well over 200 minion kills. I should be closer to like 225, 250 at this point. Should be kind of basically where Riven is at the 236. That's where I should be in terms of minion kills. But again, still trying to get the mechanics down. Like I said, it's my first game playing Karthus after a 5-year break, so hopefully you guys can hopefully cut me a little slack here off of this. And I am, again, in terms of gold, I have, well, I guess Gragas is now slightly past me in gold on the team, but I'm way ahead of Echo. I'm, 800 gold ahead of Echo in the laning matchup, largely because Echo's just not farming. He is 40 CS behind me because he just stopped farming, which is something you often see in these kind of lower elo. I guess this isn't elo because we're not in ranked here, but kind of the lower skill games is people just don't farm as much as they should. So anyway, Nocturne is going to try to ult, but he just gets blown up there. I'm not sure what was happening to him. He's out of position, but they get a kill on Kayn, and honestly, that's a good trade for their team because Kayn is more valuable to our team than Nocturne is to their team. Now Ryze is going to ult down to bottom lane. Sona gets off a really nice ult though to keep them alive. Now she still gets blown up by Riven, but that was about the most she could do, and then Kai'Sa gets blown up as well. So Gragas and I are trying to come down here. This fight's already been a disaster for us, but their team is diving behind a tower, and so that gives us some opportunity to make a play. So when I see Braum take that shot, and with him having his shield down, I'm like, alright, I can clean up this kill with my ult, and he can't do anything about it. So that doesn't make up for the deaths that we just suffered, but we did manage to turn that into a 2 for 3 instead of the complete and utter disaster that it was looking like. If their team had been more disciplined, they should not have dove onto that tower. They should have just backed, grabbed minions, and then shoved this tower, and they could have easily taken it because they had a 4-on-2, or yeah, they had a 4-on-2 there, and they shouldn't have had any trouble pulling that off. But again, kind of low skill or lower skill game, and their team's over aggressive. Now they are going to get a decent prize. They're going to claim this Infernal Drake on the back end, so that's going to even up the Infernal Drake score. And that's going to help them out markedly, because if we take the second Infernal Drake and go up 2-0, obviously that's going to be a huge advantage for us. I guess I should mention, since I am doing this series after a long break from me doing any League videos, the different elemental drakes have different properties. We have double ocean drake, which gives us lots of health and mana regen, and that's really significant. I love the ocean drakes, and I feel like they're often undervalued by kind of the community in general. Our team's chasing after Riven here, so let's see if we can get it. Kane making great use of that ability to go through walls. Yeah, he's going to pick that up. So that's a big kill because it's a shutdown, and Riven is one of the strongest members of their team. And we're just like, you know what, let's go for Baron. We checked for wards, they didn't have any, so we're like, all right, they're going to be slow to react to this. Now, they weren't really that slow. There's my wall going down to get the magic resistance shred on the Baron. So they're aware of it at this point, but Nocturne is not in position. He's down here, so we do get the kill, do get a smite on it. I trusted our jungler to do that, and at this point, I was like, back. We're low from Baron, let's just back, don't fight this. Back and buy, put that gold we just picked up to good use. And so a game that looked like it could be getting away from us, we're really able to turn in our favor off of getting that pick on Riven and then turning that into a Baron. A risky Baron, it should be said. No question about that. But, you know, we're behind in the game. We had a 5v4 in terms of champions. So I think it was a worthwhile risk to go for. And Nocturne never even got in position to smite. He just never got in range. So even though I think the health on the Baron got down to like 200 at one point, which is much lower than you want, yeah, we did end up picking that up. And it was smited by our Kane player here, Elemental Destruction, who at 12.65 is definitely carrying this game. But I'm pretty happy with my 5-3-1 score right now. So we see bottom lane, Echo's in bot. We see Riven top lane. So we're like, all right, well, if they've got one in bot and one in top, we could probably just take this tower. But we're not able to do that because Kane and Gragas are not with us. So it was like, oh, well, I guess we can't push. Oh, well. To get back to my point from earlier, while we've got a minute here, though, the Infernal Drakes, they add a percentage of ability power and attack damage to your team. I believe it's 8% per Infernal Drake. So if you stack two of them up, you're getting plus 16% AD, plus 16% AP, and that is a lot. But instead, now it's 8% for each of us, and that's much more even. Now, right here, you see our team's posturing around mid, but right here, I'm going to put the wall down, and then Riven is going to pop her ult and look to engage on me, but I now get a good defensive flash, unlike the last time. Sona then ult her, and we blew up Riven at the start of the fight. Now, we are going to lose Kai'Sa right away, which is bad, but we got the kill on Riven, and I get a great wall, my best wall of the game right there, to separate their team, and that allows Kane to come flying in from the top, and a nice dash in from Gragas. I can't remember what the ability's called, but he got the knockup. And I'm going to ult right here, and as their team tries to run away, that's going to kill Braum, and now the rest of their team is super low. We were going to get the kill on Echo, but instead he limps away on like 50 HP, no, 35 HP. And that's going to clear us to continue pushing here because we just went 3 for 1 in this team fight. And we have the Baron. And you know what else is super important? We have double Ocean Drakes. And this is really critical because it means we're just going to keep sustaining in terms of health and mana. And we're going to be able to just keep pushing in a way we would not be able to do without the double Ocean Drakes. So we still have Riven down for about 5 seconds. We still have Nocturne down for 12 more seconds. So we're going to look to push this. Even though this is risky, we're going to look to make the play. We go after the Rise player right there, so we're going to get him. So now, even though Riven's back up, we still have a numbers edge. I'm going to get off a pretty good exhaust on Riven right when she was looking to use her ult. Nocturne ults in, so we're starting to lose members. We did lose me right there, but again, I'm Karthus. I can keep doing damage. They're still standing in my defile. They're still taking damage from Playways. Kane is picking up kills. That wall is going to, I get off right as my death defile's running off. It's going to force Braum to run away to the top. Kane's on it, and he just picked up a quadra kill right there. So Kane cleaning up the tail end of that fight, going to 16-6-9 on the game, and that's an ace. So with Kai'Sa still alive, Kai'Sa finally got back in the fight at the very, very tail end of that. We can just finish off this game. I don't know why Kai'Sa is hitting minions right now over here. Should just hit the Nexus. Look, like, what is Kai'Sa doing here? Fortunately, it doesn't matter. We have enough time, and their team's actually going to surrender at the last second there. So that's it, and we managed to pull off that game. So that's a victory for us. Let me look at the gold here for a second. Yeah. So I didn't take a screenshot at the tail end of that, so I'm going to have to wrap up the video here instead of doing what I usually do, which is to post a screenshot and do the ending overview on that. So overall, a pretty good game. 7-4-7 on the Karthus. Now, granted, I did get carried to a certain extent by the Kane, but I felt like I did better than our top laner, our Gragas, who was outfarmed by 100 CS, and our bottom lane, which lost lane pretty badly, had their tower taken, had the Kai'Sa, who only had 170 minion kills at 33 minutes. I mean, I was pretty happy with that. Like, if you look at the gold total, we lost top, we lost bot, but we won jungle and we won mid. And I was, granted, that was inflated by taking towers and having Baron, but I did finish up 2,000 gold ahead of Echo, and even before we took that Baron, I was still like about 1,000 gold ahead. So yeah, pretty happy with that, especially because Echo does well against Karthus. He's not a Karthus counter, but he should be able to beat Karthus 1v1 in lane, and I think that I was able to compensate for that and still be really effective overall in the game, especially in those team fights, which is where Karthus really excels, and Echo's not terrible, but certainly not as useful. So overall, quite happy with that game, happy with how things went, and we'll see what I'm able to do. Don't expect as many League of Legends videos on YouTube as you used to see back in the day, but I'll try to do a few of them, and we'll kind of see where this goes. We'll see how much time I have available to devote to this, but this was fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So until next time, hope you guys are having a great week. Until then, have a good one, take care, and I'll see you soon.